three places which I introduced before, and Thomas will also introduce the information about these places, what was the function of that building before, and now how is the planning for the reuse function. And you need to take all the information. You can take notes, you can take voice records, video records, you need to take photos.
Ask questions.
Definitely ask the questions for anything about the factory, about the reuse function, about the history of the building. Feel free and listen carefully, okay?
Thank you.
Stage is yours.
So how much time do we have?
I think we have too much time, don't worry. Till 4:30.
4:30?
Yeah.
No, we don't need. Definitely not. I mean, we can spend about 2 days in that factory, in the brewery. It's really huge. That is only a small part of it. But I don't want to bore you, and you should see these 3 sites that we were talking about. For one, I have to find the key. That is a certain problem.
Oh, okay.
But I hope that I will be successful. So I'd like to start my journey through the brewery and the yard. Please follow me. You don't have this problem with these things.
Camera is first. I have enough memory. I will upload to YouTube. Hit the follow us on YouTube.
But yesterday, yes, there was also a call. Yeah, correct.
Could you come a bit nearer, please, because I don't want to yell at you. So you are all architects, yeah?
Most of them are
On the paper.
Thank you. So could you just give me an information about you, where you come from and what your profession is?
Okay, well,
Let's start with you.
I'm from Uzbekistan.
Okay.
My name is Babu, and my background is urban planning. Yeah, in my bachelor degree. And I'm Nikhil, and I'm coming from India, and basically I'm civil engineer.
Civil engineer.
I work in UAE, like Dubai, for 6 years.
Okay.
Now here, architect.
Now you're in Germany.
I'm Kurdistan.
Okay. Awesome.
I'm Dinuraj from India. I'm also civil engineer.
Let me guess, civil engineer.
From India, my name is Yogi.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm Maria. The same as I'm also civil engineer from India.
Heaps of civil engineers. Interesting. Surprise, surprise.
No one is here. Me.
As I know, because in the first lecture we met.
Oo, Hamit Baba gelmiş.
Most of the students are architects. They don't attend the first lecture, that's why I am not aware. We are too much civil engineer.
And I'm Kunjita, and I'm also from civil background.
And also from India.
Yeah, India.
Okay.
My name is Sinan. I'm from Azerbaijan. I'm an architect.
Kizar from Turkey. I'm the last civil engineer.
Okay, there's election in Turkey in the next days, yeah? Very important one.
Yes, it's coming.
Bizzat is supporting Erdoğan.
My name is Abdülhamit. I'm from Turkey. I'm an architect.
Also. Egypt.
Yes.
Cairo?
Alexander.
Alexandria.
Mehmet. I come from Iran. I'm an architect.
Tehran?
No, Isfahan.
Ah, beautiful city. I haven't been there yet. But
Yeah.
it's supposed to be very, very beautiful.
It's worthwhile, yeah.
As beautiful as Dessau, yeah?
Yeah.
You're not
You can
quite
say
clear
that there
about
are
this.
like many UNESCO heritage sites there also.
Yeah.
In terms of sightseeing, you can come here.
You can compare, you can't.
You can come here.
Not quite sure about that. I haven't been there yet, but anyway, doesn't matter.
I'm Ali from Iran. I'm architect as well.
Also from Isfahan, yeah?
No, from Tehran.
You're from here? Oh, okay.
I'm from Turkey. I'm an architect also.
Also from Turkey. Okay. So lots of Indian people, civil engineers, and architects as well, and architects. So I think that the brewery used to be a brewery is interesting for each of you. Because it's interesting for architects definitely, but also for civil engineers and also for town planners in my opinion. And let me give you some information on the history of the building. The oldest part, which is right behind you, the one with the black tiles or stones, that was built in the 1850s, something like that.
1950s, why?
And it was very successful at that time, and so they increased the whole brewery whenever it was needed. You can see it here with the old building and the column over here where it's connected. It's not very nice done for an architect, but that was not that important at that time. They wanted to make the whole thing work, and as I said, they increased it over the years. And it became one of the biggest breweries in Germany, I'd say. If you have been to Berlin, probably everyone has been to Berlin. You should go to the cultural brewery, Kulturbrauerei, Prenzlauer Berg, very important, very interesting. You can compare the one in Berlin with the one in Dessau. They were sometimes siblings in a sense. They belong to the Schultheiss firm, and the one in Dessau was the first step of Schultheiss, which was founded in Berlin, out of Berlin to Dessau. So that was the first step of enlargement, so to say. And you can see that that part was built later. And this part, and behind that part there's another part, the so-called Lagerkeller. I will show you if I find the piece. And that is the third part which we are talking about. We have decided to offer three parts within the brewery. One is the so-called Lagerkeller, the other one is Kesselhaus Maschinenhaus Depot,
And
the third one is the Melzereien.
I also showed in the first
Okay,
lecture.
okay,
I
yeah,
think,
yeah.
but it's important for the new enrolled students. They miss the first class. They
Yeah.
are not aware the location of the
Okay.
places.
Yeah. The point is that the Melzereien, they are unfortunately in the worst condition. And actually, I would suggest that we just walk in with those people who are interested to work on that side in small groups, because the condition is really it's dangerous, and I don't want to get anyone injured here.
How
as you can
much?
imagine.
How many students in a group? 5, if they can. 5 group. Let's make group.
No, not later, not later.
Okay,
Just
not
we-
later, okay.
For later to let you know that I would like to go inside in smaller groups then.
Okay.
So the brewery actually built everything that they needed, apart from the bottles and the snap. I don't know what you call it to close the bottles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is it snap? Everything else actually was built here, and they even produced their own energy at that time. I will show you the so-called Kessler Maschinenhaus. That is one of the parts that could be worked on. And actually you can see how they produce the beer from the products, the raw products, and they brought out the produced beer when it was finished within these buildings. It's still possible, although all the machinery is no longer there. So as I said, Schultheiss was the factory, and Schultheiss was supposed to be one of the firms who delivered the Nazis, and for that reason, Schultheiss was taken away from the former owners and given to the GDR to the population. It was a so-called Volkseigener Betrieb. I don't know what it is in English, unfortunately. It belonged to the people, and that was done between 45 and 49. That is very important because the Russians were supposed to say that those things were given to the public between 45 and 49. They must not be given back to the former owners. For that reason, the whole factory came to the so-called Treuhand. We are now in German history, German history. Yeah? The Treuhand is a society, whatever, who sold that building to a Bavarian brewery, and they produced for, let's say, 5 years their beer here in Dessau, and then they produced Dessauer beer in Munich. The Dessauers decided, okay, it's no longer our beer, so we're not going to drink it any longer. And then they said, oh, there's no one drinking our beer, so we can close down the whole factory. So actually it was buying a firm and putting it down, and though there was no concurrent, there was no one else to sell their beer. That's what they did. Actually, it was crime what they did, in my opinion. Do you understand me?
Yes.
Then the whole building was already in a very bad condition, but as there was no production any longer, it really became a ruin. All the roofs were leak. And I was working at the Bauhaus at that time, and the Bauhaus had the theme Industrial Garden Realm, and they were dealing with all these industrial sites around Dessau, like Ferropolis. Have you seen Ferropolis? Have you heard about Ferropolis yet? You should tell these people. You should go to Ferropolis. It's very important, very interesting. They, for example, they took huge bagger to get the coal out of the ground. What do you call these machines? Civil engineers. You know these
Not
diggers?
Yeah, I know about that.
Sort of mining, yeah.
In Turkish,
Blue sky mining machines, and they were supposed to be destroyed, and people of the Bauhaus said, no, we're going to keep them, and we built a new city out of that. That is called Ferropolis. And now it's one of the most famous sites in Germany for pop and rock festivals. There will be
Ferropolis.
2 or 3 in the next couple of weeks, and should have an eye on it because it's really interesting and it's very fascinating when they put them in blue and red light and stuff like that. Ferropolis. Yes, it's like the ones in East Germany, in the West Germany. It was like Düsseldorf and Dortmund, Ruhrgebiet. Yes, yeah. That has a certain quality. And as I said, I was at the Bauhaus at that time, and I fell in love with that brewery, and we founded a Verein. I don't know what Verein in German is. Organization where people come together and with the same aim in order to do something to reach the
Verein,
aim.
club.
Huh?
Verein means club.
So yeah, club.
Club.
Just a club. Okay, we founded a club. I thought a club would be something different, but anyway, we founded that club and we took that brewery. We paid 1 Deutschmark at that time, and at that time, many people were unemployed.
Duolingo.
And with these unemployed people,
learned
we
from
started to restore the building. It was really in a bad condition. We had no heating, no water, no electricity and stuff like that. And we obviously started with the roofs, at least at that part. These ones were okay at that time, but now unfortunately they are ruined. And then first people started to get interested in what we were doing and stuff like that. And then the Kulturstiftung, that is the organization who is dealing with all these parks and castles around Dessau. They were searching for a depot, and they are now behind these walls. They were really happy with their rooms, and so the Stiftung Bauhaus, they said we also need an archive, and they are in the top stories of that building nowadays. That building, the so-called Kletterzentrum Zuckerturm, for some reasons they filled up sugar in the GDR and I don't know why, but they took off all the floors out of the building. It was actually, if you watched upstairs, you could see from downstairs up to the ceiling. And we were thinking, what should we do with that building? Then the Alpenverein, the people who climb up in the Alps, they said, could we climb up on the facade? And they said, okay, we can do it, but maybe we find something inside as well. And now it's the highest climbing hall in Sachsen-Anhalt. The Laborgebäude, which I'd like to show you, is there are several people who founded like a firm. And there's also a Koch studio, cooking studio. We had a club, music club here, Depot, and going to meet some people who want found another club, music club, in the next couple of weeks. So I think there's certain Bewegung, certain activities. Thank you. Starting in the next weeks, thank God. As you can imagine, it's really hard and really expensive to heat up such a huge building, just because of the size, but also because of the ways between the heating, which is here, and the rooms that have to be heated up. And so we were thinking about a system, how to do it in an ecological way, and we were founded by the government of Bundesrepublik Deutschland, and they paid for a demonstration project where we put on solar panels on a roof, and in summer, like today, we wanted to take the solar energy and heat up huge, really huge tanks in the basement. And in fall and in winter, that temperature, that energy was supposed to be taken again to heat up the whole building. As many projects, our building costs increased, and we told them, listen, we don't have enough money. We can't do it with that money you gave us. They said, it's not a problem at all, you get money from us. Calm and stuff like that. And then from one day to the other, I got a phone call that told us, we have just been to the ministry, and unfortunately I have to tell you, we're not going to give you any more money. So that means that the system was finished up to 90%, but it was never in charge. It was never working yet, which is horrible, which is Germany.
So you have the solar panels right now?
We have everything. We have the solar panels, we have the big ovens, we have the tanks.
And they're also installed? And
yes, I'll show you. Only 10% are missing, and that is for 10 years now, and no one cares about that.
10 years just because of funding?
We'll talk about that later, okay? You can trust me, sir, that I did several attempts in the last 10 years to get the thing working, and it's typical for Dessau. The city is not that easy. The people here are not easy, and but maybe we have another chance in the next couple of weeks. Yeah.
Hopefully.
So that's for the first overview. Are there questions so far? Come on, so many information, there must be questions.
Question. Keine Frage.
No questions.
Really?
So let's start with the Kesselhaus Maschinenhaus.
Duolingo. Duolingo da.
İyi Prag'ı falan biliyorum soruyu.
Prag'da bir şey yok lan.
Sorun var biliyorsun Almancası.
İsmail'den köfte. Beraytuk neydi ya? Hazırlama mı?